Hey, what's up YouTube? It's K-Rod here. I'm back with another good video for today. I wanted to make this video to talk about, I believe the Amy Timlin situation. I wanted to basically cover about this fight because I kind of felt like that this fight was a complete mismatch, and sadly, this needs to be talked about more in the sport of females boxing. And I wanted to talk about this because this could have ended up like another situation between the Jeanette Zacharias Zapata fight. I think this is pretty important for me to talk about this. I think it's really underrated of why people don't talk about fights in the sport of female boxing that are not talked about as much because of the exposure and the lack of media attention on it. So yeah, let's get right to it. This was a fight that was fought for the EBU world title. Well, it's not a world title, but I'll just keep it nice and short. But Amy Timlin, she got knocked out in her recent fight against Mary Romero. This is for the EBU female super bantamweight title, which, it's just like another bullshit title that nobody doesn't really care about. But I guess over in Europe, that's somehow something that people have to, worry so much about. But I really don't find that to be that much of a, big deal to me, because it's like nobody doesn't care about that, and more people would care more about getting world titles. But here's the problem. Amy Timlin, she is a very young girl. She's 21 years old. She started boxing pretty early, around, I believe, 19. So she's been in the game for a good 2 years. Not a bad record, but honestly, when she started to step it up, she started fighting, women that were obviously levels above her that gave her a fight. But, I mean, if you look at this record, not too much of a good fight. She fought this one girl that had a 1-5 record. The next opponent 0-5. Bojana Libuzuiecka. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm sorry, but this woman, she's been knocked out 3 times, and she's been losing every other fight. So I don't know why she would be taking fights like this. I think it's obviously just for her to stay busy. But her 2 step-ups were obviously Carly Skelly and the Mary Romero woman that knocked her out in 8 rounds out of 10. And the only problem that I have with this is that this lady is obviously at super bantamweight, and Amy has only been fighting at super bantamweight only like 3 times technically, because she's not even like that small of a girl. She's obviously pretty big for her size. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but like based off of her body type, she's fit to be a 130 pounder. I don't know how tall she is, but I want to say by the looks of it, like she'll be a good like 5'6", 5'7". I mean, I don't even know if that's even like a good fair, naked eye perception, but from the looks of it, she seems to be fit for bigger weights. So my only issue with this fight was that she fought this woman basically like a year and a half later, prior to the Carly Skelly fight that happened back in October of 2020. And there wasn't really any reason for her to really go for any big fights at 122, because she hasn't really proven herself to be that big of a fighter. See, now, I'm not trying to doubt anybody's dreams to become a world champion, but this is poor matchmaking for the sport of female boxing, where there's not enough women in every division to give every girl the opportunity to test themselves to the highest standard. And for any of you dick riders that obviously want to come in and try to tell me, oh, well, that's just how women's boxing is, mate. These women have to fight each other because there's not enough people in their division, so let them go at it. No, that is by far the stupidest way of thinking, because you could put that same energy on your favorite fighter saying, oh, well, Katie Taylor, she fought Jennifer Hahn, and Jennifer Hahn, she's been in some good fights, blah, 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 knowing that Jennifer Hahn, she's been out the ring for such a long time, and everybody knows, like, it's not worth a fight to watch, but yet Katie Taylor goes out and styles on her, and everybody still asks her, hey, you know, do you want to fight Amanda Serrano? She's been calling you out for years, and she's not even, like, interested enough to the point where she's not pressured by the media for her to fight Amanda Serrano, because she knows Amanda Serrano, you know, is going to beat the dumb shit out of her. I'm sorry, like, to all you Katie Taylor fans, you know, including myself, I don't see Amanda Serrano losing hard to Katie. Katie Taylor will get stomped, like, really bad by Amanda Serrano. So for this fight with Amy Timlin versus Mary Romero, this woman shouldn't have been inside the ring with this girl. She should have been inside the ring with at least Georgelina Giuani. I would have liked that fight. Julissa Guzman, that would have been a good fight. Dana Bolanos versus Amy would have been a better fight together. Or Mary should have faced Karina Fernandez, who is sisters with Diana Fernandez, that just fought Mariana Juarez's sister. I believe that was at super flyweight, right? Or bantamweight, right? Yeah, her sister's at bantamweight. Yeah, no, Johan Luna, she's at, yeah, okay. Yeah, I forgot, like, what weight she's at. I think she's at super flyweight. Yeah, Lourdes Suarez, yep. And Diana, she's, like, right there. Yep, I was right. I'm right all the time. But, yeah, let's talk about this fight, because this is purely a disgrace to female boxing, and I don't understand why nobody's not talking about this as much. But Mary Romero was obviously coming off of, yeah, pretty much at the same amount of time. You know, she had, like, her little layoff. It took her literally, like, well over a year and a half for her to just come back into the sport. And then she comes out of her way and just knocks out Amy. But it's like, this is like the same situation with her other recent opponent 2 years prior, where she fought Billiginer Aras. This woman is, like, not that big of a fighter herself, but if you just look at her recent resume, she was coming off of a win, a TKO victory, and then she gets matched up to face Mary, which, I mean, you know, it's not bad, but she like you know, she obviously took this fight on short notice, so it's like, was that really worth a matchup victory? And I mean, this was fought at, like, whoa, this was fought at 160. She came in overweight? What? Yo, that's crazy. Yeah, I don't really be trusting BoxRec a lot, so I can't really tell if these fights were actually, like, you know, measured properly, but I can tell with this lady, she's not obviously staying active, and she's really not like this type of girl where she's just smoking everybody. She recently got a knockout victory over, you know, Amy, but it's like, do I really take this girl seriously? No, I don't. But the problem that I have with this matchup is that Amy, she could have ended up like Jeanette Zacharias Zapata, where if she gets, like, she got knocked out in this fight, but then let's just say the next fight, she fights another woman that is levels above her that can do the same exact thing as her previous opponent. How is that helping her grow as a fighter? And that's really the problem that I have right now, because you should not be putting a young girl like Amy inside the ring with minimal pro experience or minimal pro professional fights with a woman that has a little bit more experience than her that could easily smoke her. So I don't know how the matchmaking is, you know, with women that fight out of European nations, but I find it really disgusting and very disrespectful that whoever is sanctioning fights out there, they're allowing young girls to go at it with other older, if not better women, you know, regardless of age. I'm just going to put that out there, that have more experience to beat them. And I'm not to say, like, that, oh, well, these women can't fight and they shouldn't be fighting against, like, up-and-coming contenders if they're a prospect. It's the fact that if you are still a prospect and you're still improving as a fighter, because, like, you know, if you compare Amy's record to Rachel Ball's record, Rachel Ball, she was a prospect coming up, and she's not even a world champion yet. So you're meaning to tell me that after she got her victory against Shannon Courtney, a woman that almost came close to defeating her, which was a really tough fight, but Rachel Ball defeated Shannon, she should have been next in line to challenge for a world title at 122. Because it seems like that this fight was at featherweight, because it seemed like that it was going to be for super bantamweight, but then she obviously probably just fought at super or featherweight instead, and the fight itself, went her way to win the fight. And then after that, she then goes off to face Georgina Giuani, which that fight was really good. And Georgina, she failed to make weight, so she won the WBC interim title. So at this point, she should have been able to be next in line to face whoever's a champion at 120. Yeah, at 122, because I don't think Jackie Nava, I don't think she's a WBC champion. I think the champion for this division has to be, I want to say Mariana, right? Is she the champion? No, she was the bantamweight champion, and then she got she got cheated by Johan Luda. So, yeah, who is the champion for? If anything, it has to be vacated, right? Yeah, WBC super bantamweight female. Yeah, hold on, sorry about that. Yeah, WBC super bantam. Yeah, or WBC 122 female champion. Sorry, I should always have my facts in front of me. Yeah, Yamalif Mercado. Okay, Mercado is the current world champion. Okay, so Rachel Ball should be next in line to face, Yamilef Mercado for the world title. So that makes a lot more sense. Got it. But either way, it's like she has everything set for her career, because she fought some decent contenders to be up at that level. But when you look at her record, she hasn't fought that many women to be up there to a contender status. She's only had 8 fights, and she lost, only one to, Katharina Fanders, who then got defeated by, who's that other girl? I forgot that one lady. She got knocked out by Terry Harper. So, yeah, it just doesn't make any sense, how these matchmaking, how should I say, how these matchmakers out in European countries are setting up these female bouts. It's not accurate, and it's very broken. And I don't see how this is not being regulated to the point where when you're starting off as a prospect, you should be facing other top prospects within your division. Hence why boxing needs to be set up like a fight league, because how can you say that you're a good prospect leading yourself to be a contender if you're not facing top prospects around you? That's why you see some of these women out in Mexico that have like padded records that are fighting like a bunch of bums, and by the time when they step it up, it's like a hit or miss, type of fight for them. It's either make or break situation. So, if we're going to take fights seriously for the sport of female boxing, just like how people want to see it, the same way for men's boxing, boxing needs to be organized a lot better with the matchmaking system to make sure that every prospect and every contender is forced to fight one another if they want to get up to that world title. Because in the UFC, they obviously have it down. There's no such thing as like, oh, you can just duck and dodge anybody. You have to go through that person in order to get up to that world title. Unless that person loses to somebody that is probably 10 times more dangerous than him and her, you're still having to fight those people regardless. So either way, this situation with Amy Timlin is something that I wanted to talk about, because Mary Romero, she obviously had a lot better skills than her, and she's not that much of a knockout puncher herself either. So it has to be something beyond the lines of whoever has more, whoever has more momentum and physicality in their opponent usually wins, the fights. based on skills. So by looking at this fight, Amy should have fought Carly Skelly in a rematch, or she should have went off to face some other top super bantamweight prospect on the come up, like a Anna Maria Lozano, which, I mean, she doesn't have like a good record, but then again, I probably would, replace that with Dana Ponce Bolanos. She's an 18-year-old, Mexican fighter. That would have been a good fight. Or if you could go after Amanda Pavone, that could be worth a good fight to play out. Or Miriam Rosales. She's obviously not the biggest puncher in the world, but she could definitely have some pop in her game. So she could definitely give some women some problems. But that would be a good fight that would be a beautiful fight to watch. Or I probably wouldn't mind a fight with who else? I mean, any of these girls could be decent, but maybe Steffi Levy. Yeah, I heard she was like a decent fighter. I haven't really seen too much of her. Yeah, fights, but she's been fighting a bunch of bums, so she's not. Yeah, well, like, I mean, obviously, I would take the fight, regardless. Try to have some fights that are, local near you, that are from your country. But I mean, I just don't understand why Amy would take the opportunity in fighting a woman that was levels above her, because this is just poor matchmaking on the part of not having a proper central body in the sport of boxing to make sure everyone's being matched properly with the right fighter. Because if a woman like Taylor Starling gets into bare knuckle boxing and she's fighting women based on whatever skill level that's being put up in front of her, she's more likely to win or lose on a catch-22 scale of which is going to help her or it's going to uplift her. Because obviously she's not really this type of fighter where she just comes out of her way and does very well. And she's putting more risk in bare knuckle boxing versus in professional boxing. Like, you could just see, like, okay, she had her first fight against Maisha O'Gelsby, not a good fighter to begin with. She's very green and very less experienced. Gets hit too much. But her next fight was against Ebony Rivera, a woman who then later got knocked out by, or previously before her fight leading up to Taylor Starling, she got knocked out by Tyresha Douglas. And then she just comes back and just beats the crap out of Taylor. That doesn't make any sense because she just came off of her debut victory over Maisha O'Gelsby. So you're meaning to tell me that she was ready to face Ebony Rivera, a woman that had more experience than her? She had 9 fights under her belt, or make that 8 fights under her belt at that time, and then she just goes on and defeats her? Like, nah, man, get the hell out of here. Like, that's poor matchmaking in the sport of female boxing. And that shit needs to stop. So, yeah, that's pretty much what I gotta say. I think Amy just needs to face girls that are around her prospect level first, and she'll be ready to face all the top ladies in her division. I'm just only saying that just to protect, the safety of fighters, or to speak out for the safety of any fighter that gets into boxing or whatever combat sport. And I just think that it would be best to prevent future, situations where fighters could end up getting killed by a freak accident against fighters that are levels above them. But, I am all for the best fighting the best, but when you start out, a young fighter, especially like Amy, she needs to be put up against women that are at her level. Don't put no young, up and coming prospect against some, big time veteran or up and coming contender veteran that's going to smoke him in just a couple rounds or something. Obviously, she did hold her own in 8 rounds, but imagine if this was like something beyond the lines of like this lady had more punching power and she was hurting her in less than 8 rounds, and it led to a knockout victory that could have hurt her career. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Like, these mismatches need to stop for the sport of female boxing, and that's pretty much it. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think about this fight. I obviously wasn't able to watch any clip out of it, But for those of you that don't, or for those of you that might have some information on this fight, if you could let me know how this fight went out, I'd like to know, because I wanted to see this fight, and sadly, networks don't even be showing out female fights that much, and it's really disrespectful that women's boxing isn't being premiered as much compared to men. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think. That's pretty much it. I hope Amy is doing okay. I do believe she has some good skills and talents, and I hope she does expand herself to the highest level to uplift her career. So much love to Amy, and kudos to her opponent getting a victory over her. But still, this is a mismatch, man. Shit like this, needs to stop in the sport of boxing, and we need to call this out before things get worse. All right, so that's pretty much what I have to say. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys later, and goodbye.